Hello, this is Snareboy, a friend of Robonites. I am a black African American. Before I continue on my statement any further, I don't really act on Twitter as much as most YouTubers do because I don't want to get into this toxic shit. Now, let me make my point. If I felt like Robonite was racist, I wouldn't have been talking to him in the first place. That's just a fact. It's more towards the point that racism, it doesn't happen towards just blacks, and that's just not a fact. And that's what his statement was, right? That you, as a black person, are not the only one that experiences racism, and that's true. So, when you say, from my end, right, you're racist because you haven't experienced racism, isn't a point. It's called being observant. And when you're being observant, it does not mean you're being racist. And I've had this exact same argument happen when I made a statement about some other topic, right? And then I was tagged with something that I wasn't, right? And it's dumb. It's stupid. It makes us all look bad. It makes your group look completely terrible in comparison. Because you got to think about it this way, right? If you're trying to look from the outside and try to meld in with the inside, is that truly being racist, or is that trying to bridge the gaps between two different groups, right? And I can probably tell that Robonite is white, and that's fine, right? But there's definitely been some white racism in the past, and that's just a fact. But it's not the point that racism doesn't only happen to whites either, right? Chinese, everyone has gotten into this point where there has been some segregation on any front, right? It's just that white or Caucasian people get it the least, and for someone from the area of getting it the least, trying to make it more welcome for the people on the most end is a very good step forward towards equality. And I don't understand why people are pinning just being observant as being racist or anything on the other end. It's stupid. It's dumb. Yeah, it's just hard for me to see that people are coming at people from the other end, right, and shutting them down before they can even get a step in and understand where we are coming from, right? The moment you shut people down from trying to understand your pain is the moment you're seen like an asshole, and that's what's going on here, right? He hasn't experienced racism, hence why he's making a post advocating for anti-racism. That's the point, right? But it's not saying that racism is good. Racism isn't good. It's not a thing that should exist. It's more of the point that people on other spectrums besides black people can be discriminated by race, right? And I'm currently working on an assignment for my class about racism right now, so I can understand where he's coming from, right? And because as we know, when Malcolm X, when he was with Islam, right, and was trying to advocate for Islam and shit, right, he was currently being racist towards whites. I will say that now. He was basically trying to shut off all whites from his, what he would call his state. But as he realized that he was preaching for the wrong thing, apologized and moved on. So, I'm not getting this off baseless shit, right? People have discriminated white people before, but it's just 10 times less noticeable. People have discriminated people from, like Hispanics and Asians, right? Everyone gets this shit, right? You just can't isolate it to one end, right? The same goes with like sexual assault and other kind of stuff like that. You can't isolate it towards one end when the other complete side of the spectrum is not there, is not there, but like is completely still getting that side of the spectrum, right? If we completely isolate sexual assault to women, we completely undermine the fact that men also get this shit too, and that becomes a problem, right? And then when it comes to the court system, they say, well, since he's a male, he doesn't. It's most likely a lie, and they'll pass it in the other direction, right? It's that same way, right? You can't undermine everyone else's struggles when it comes to race with just your own, and that's just fucking stupid. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Robonite is not racist. Robonite is just trying to be observant, right? And that's all there is to it. Cool? Cool. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Later.